Okay. Hello again. I just did the story about the love bombing. Uh, Here comes the caveat again. Um, Everything and anything you see in this is my personal opinion. It's not medical advice. There's self-help stuff out there. I've only known that stuff for about a week. What I'm trying to do is give you my examples of the things that I've been through uh, to maybe help you realize, to recognize you're with a dark manipulator. Um, you can spot some of these things, put together enough of a puzzle, because they're very complicated, and it's not just one or two pieces, guys. Don't take that. Whatever you do, don't go with a half completed puzzle. Get enough of the puzzle together where you can start to see the picture. Okay. In this video, we're going to talk about my problems, and I only went through about 2 weeks of therapy. Um, it's I've never been to a therapist before. Um, what she had done, these people manipulate you, and they're really, really good at it. Don't, they, no matter how smart you think you are, and I, I'm a moderately smart person. My SATs were really high. So it's not that I'm not intelligent. What it is, and it has nothing to do with your intelligence argumentatively. What it does is these people are able to reach in and pick out pieces of you that are open little holes where they can worm in. And it doesn't matter how smart you are. Once they get those hooks in you, you can't see it, kind of thing. So, all right, so my problems. She had me convinced that I had some bad mental problems, and I was actually getting scared. Um, and we just came to this apex in our relationship after 37 years. And I said, I'm done. I'm not going to take this anymore. And that's been slowly building for a while now. But I said, I'm done. And so she just, of course, and this is what happens. Go listen to all those people on other channels. They'll tell you, these doctors. What happens then is a love bomber. She didn't love bomb on this one, but it was some manipulation stuff they said it. I'm sorry, I normally talk a little lower, more like this, really, but whatever. And I try to speak higher. That way some of you can hear me because I know frequencies and tones and things. But either way, what they do then is they drive that knife in and twist it, because the whole ideal is to keep you on the hook. And right now, what's going on is that she's found a new nest um, to move to. Now, this has happened, I don't know how many times, 30 or 40 times in our relationship. And she, and I'm still questioning this. I haven't come up with an answer that I feel comfortable with yet. Is that every time we separated before, next thing you know, she's back or I'm back or whatever. And I need to go down and I need to sit and think through these things because everything's still real fresh right now. I need to think through these things and try to ask myself the question: um, Did I really go back and put my hooks into her and draw her in, or did she wave a little flag and go, "Oh, remember this," kind of thing? And because it's a manipulation game. All right. Let's go back to my problems. Okay. So I went through 2 weeks of therapy. I was afraid that I had narcissistic personality disorder, um, sociopathy. Um, I don't remember what else she said I supposedly had. And what she would do, and this is why I'm giving a caveat on every video about little puzzle pieces. Don't take one puzzle piece. She would turn around and take one piece of something I'd done, and then she go, "See, this is narcissistic behavior, blah blah blah," blah. And she would blow it up. And then if she had two pieces, boy, she could really put them together. And see, this is even more proof. And so you go into this self doubt. But anyway, so I took their test, and I've got to throw this caveat in. I'm scared because I don't want to be a nutbag. I don't want to be a bad person or whatever. So I'm answering these questions honestly. I really am, and because I won't help if there's something wrong here. And but either way, so I'm answering it honestly. The reason I bring this up is I've watched her take the test before, and I've seen the answer, the question come up, and she would go click, and I'd be thinking to myself, well, that's a lie. I mean, So there's a need, in her at least, to lie on these things, where there was a need for me to try to find out if I've got problems and need help. And anyway, so I took the test, and I was very scared on the very first test I took. My narcissism, and like for normal, they had this little scale thing. Um, I think 12% is normal. As you can see, these are the shirts I wear. I don't care. They can be paint holes, the wrinkly. She's always saying something about my shirt's been wrinkly or whatever. I have a super small vanity. Just don't care. This all exists just because I'm too lazy to shave. My hair's really long, but the same thing. Um, have exceptionally low vanity, and well, either way around. So I took this test. I got 2%. It's normally 12. The next one is, I think, the Machiavellian. Um, which I scored a little higher on that. And but then the next one is sociopathy, and this is where it scared me because normal was here, and I'm way up here. And like, oh, when I see this test result, and so I got worried, and I, you know, I was doing video conferencing and emails and things like that with them, and I was like, hey, this is way off. And they said, well, that can happen if you have emotional problems. And I'm like, well, great, because she, constantly tells me I had emotional problems. So now I'm scared. And they were like, well, here, take this test. And so the test was different. I took it, and they came in my sociopathy. I had like one answer out of 99 questions or whatever that was considered sociopathy. And I just asked them, I was like, why is that? And they said, because on the first test, it deals more, it somehow reveals emotions more. And on the second one, it doesn't. It's, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not an expert at it. But so what they told me is, and I'm trying to remember the exact words, I have a complex post-traumatic stress disorder with borderline anti mechanically the mechanicals in there somewhere. I don't, God dang it, I can't remember the name of it. With borderline mechanical, mechanically triggered, man. Anyway, man, basically, I have been traumatized by her, manipulated, which causes these other things to happen. And these other things in this particular instance is the post-traumatic stress disorder is that when certain things happen, it triggers me. And it's usually an emotional response that I have. And so um, they were trying to explain it. And honestly, I don't fully understand it. Needless to say, I need to understand it. I need to go to some therapy. I need to learn to cope um, with these triggers. And and see, this works in her advantage because now if I'm triggered when dealing with someone other than her, because I recognize some of these things, that she did to manipulate me, and so I trigger and react emotionally, um, which would be borderline abnormal. So then she can run to that person and go, "See, I told you he blah blah blah." So it's a technique. Um, and after 37 years, I've got those problems. I do. Um, just to talk on an interpersonal level. Um, uh, sorry, some of this is hard. Um, I'm so screwed up. There's when some of my friends found out that I'm getting a divorce, and I had this one gal I chat with all the time, and Tara knows that I chat with her, but I don't reveal what we chat about, and just simply because that me and this gal are friends. We would never, ever, we were not interested in each other that way, but we chat about the dirtiest things, whatever. Hey, we're around. He's like, hey, I heard you're getting ready to be single. Yeah. I said, what are you doing, hunting? Sorry, I know but it's a joke. It's something we joke about all the time. And she goes, only if we can take pictures and send it to my ex, and this goes back to the manipulation. She had a manipulator, and he was a friend of mine, and he cut me off. Either way around, the things he was doing to her were dirty, and he kept swearing that I was having sex with her. And like I say, me and this gal get along, we do, but we are not attracted to each other. It's just not there. So he around, he kept swearing about it. So of course she pulls a joke, hey, let's take the picture, blah blah blah. He do it around. So I had to get some background here, guys. But so she's like, hey, do you want to meet this person? It's a friend of mine, blah 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 blah. And she knows what I think is attractive, whatever. And so we got on here and we chatted a little bit. And here's I recognize if when you can sit down and watch yourself on video like this, especially if you can do that, you can start to recognize some of your own behaviors. And it's very therapeutic in my opinion. But I was talking to this gal and she said something and I triggered and said something right back and I stopped and I said, oh my God. And I mean, she kind of, because she doesn't know me, she doesn't know what I've been through. I think I probably, she wasn't too happy with what I said earlier. She didn't really express it, but that's when I stopped and I said, hey, listen, she should have told you what I've been through. And she goes, yeah. She goes, I didn't realize it's that bad. So she recognized it, son. And I said, I'm damaged. Um, and then, but our talk became better. We became more of adults and less flirty, I guess. And so we were able to talk more about the fact that apparently she had been through something similar, whatever. It doesn't sound anywhere near as bad as mine, but she had been through it. And so she was able to recognize that she did the same thing when she just came out of it. But I'm sitting here looking at it going, I have serious, serious trust issues. And I don't think, to be honest about the way I'm looking at my life right now, given my age, everything else, I don't think I will ever be able to trust like that again. In part, and this is going to affect uh, bonding love, true bonding love. It's because I will never be able to open myself up like that again to anyone because I'm going to be afraid that they're going to do, what she did. And then because what she did is so close to what, you would normally do, it's going to trigger me. And so I'll just start shutting off. And I think my chances for a relationship and and the rest of my life is pretty much zero, and that really sucks. Um, anyway, I got to bring this up, I guess. Um, no, I'll skip that for another day. There's some more personal things, but they're not uh, more personal things that I see myself being triggered about, and I just like I say, you end up being damaged goods. These are my problems. This is what I'm going to have to deal with. Um, on some of it, I don't have a lot of hope. Um, on some of it, I do. They're saying the borderline personality um, thing. Once I start recognizing my triggers, once I start realizing that I'm doing some of these things, they said it's a general rule. Um, and I'm not going to say I'm well balanced, but they said that's a general rule. Most well balanced people start recognizing and stop doing it because it does take conscious effort. Because PTSD is unconscious; you can't help it, and it's like reacting to a spider. I've seen people just freak out over a spider; they don't bother me, but just literally climb a glass wall. It's like, what? Over a spider? I've seen them do it for snakes. I got a neighbor that hates snakes. And, for me, it's like, oh my God, I'm not going to go into my trigger points at this point. That's something I need to work on personally. But anyway, so these are my problems. And part of the narcissistic thing is they will tell you all the problems you supposedly have. And these are my problems. I know they are. That's not to say I don't have more problems, more underlying problems, et cetera, because I do need more therapy, counseling, whatever, to try to help and fix these things. But so there's me not hiding anything. There's me telling you I've got problems. Every human being on the planet has problems to some degree and level, whether it becomes interfering in our lives like mine are, or whether it was just something that we need to work on a little bit kind of thing. I think we all do that. So that's my problems, and we'll just kind of go from there with that. And thanks for listening.